Okay, this is big. Israel's own lawyer has denounced his own state for its intent to commit a war crime and crime against humanity. This is Eyal Ben-Venisti. He represented Israel at the International Court of Justice, the highest court on earth. This is where Israel was forced to defend itself against genocide charges brought by South Africa. Let's be clear here, by the way. Ben-Venisti was completely and utterly wrong in his defense of Israel against the charge of genocide. Indeed, it is the consensus of genocide scholars, including Israeli genocide scholars such as Omar Bartov, Raz Sigal, Amos Goldberg, Daniel Blattman, Dr. Shmuel Lederman, that Israel is committing genocide against the Palestinian people in Gaza. The point here is that even Israel's own counsel, who was selected by his own state to defend it from accusations of genocide, has now come out to condemn Israel's plan to force the surviving population of Gaza into a concentration camp as a war crime and a crime against humanity. Now, indeed, as Palestinian academic lawyer Nima Sultani notes, in 2020, Ben-Venisti authored a document rejecting the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court over Israel's crimes. Now, some of you at this point might be going, well, do we really need this Israeli lawyer to tell us that forcibly herding a civilian population to a concentration camp is a war crime and a crime against humanity? Well, this is actually important, and let's explain why. And then I'll tell you what he said, as well as some other extremely crucial information that you need to know about the genocide. This was brought to my attention by the brilliant academic Alonso Gomendi, who, of course, I've interviewed repeatedly on this channel, who tells me it's the big news of the moment amongst international legal scholars. If Israel's own lawyer, chosen by Israel to defend itself from criminal charges regarding its military conduct, is condemning it for war crimes and crimes against humanity, there really is nowhere left to hide, either for the Israeli state or indeed the Western governments who are facilitating this great crime of our age. Eyal Ben-Venisti has penned his article alongside the Israeli philosopher Chaim Gans, and it's entitled "Our Duty to Explain Israel's Operation to Concentrate and Move Population in Gaza is a Manifest War Crime." As they know, this objective is not about temporary concentration and evacuation to minimize harm to non-combatants during the execution of the purported goal of defeating Hamas, but rather concentration and evacuation as an objective in and of itself. It is a measure of control that may even create conditions for, in quotes, voluntary and then migration. It's important to note or to emphasize that voluntary is correctly in scare quotes. If you wipe a land from the face of the earth, destroy its homes, schools, hospitals, all the other basic pillars of modern civilization, if you slaughter a significant proportion of its population, as well as repeatedly displacing, dispossessing, maiming, torturing, traumatizing, kidnapping, bereaving the survivors, if you deprive them of the essentials of life like food, water, energy, shelter, medicines, if in short you impose an apocalyptic, unlivable nightmare on them in their homeland, discussing voluntary migration in these circumstances is clearly a depraved lie. They quote Moshe Bogi Yalon, the former chief of staff of the Israel Defense Forces, stating, "Evacuating the entire population, call it ethnic cleansing, call it transfer, call it deportation, it's a war crime," adding, "They're sending the soldiers to commit war crimes." I think the horse has bolted there, buddy. They note that this isn't an evacuation of citizens from a war zone, which international law recognizes the need